Hola, buenas tardes a todos y bienvenidos todos al Colegio de Arquitectos de Alicante. La verdad es que todo es una sorpresa, queremos oíros, ¿no?, con lo que nos vais a contar y los de Alicante, ¿no?, los estudiantes de Alicante nos conocíamos, o sea que ha sido todo un cúmulo de situaciones y de coincidencias que creo que de aquí va a salir algo muy interesante, ¿no? Dar la bienvenida a ver, que lo tengo aquí en la chuleta, a EASA, que sois la Asamblea Europea de Estudiantes de Arquitectura, Enrique, lo tengo bien, Laura y Andrea, ¿no? Acertado. Luego tenemos como moderador a Álvaro Campos, que también actuará un poco, ¿no?, como moderador de la mesa. Tenemos también, bienvenidos aquí, a los representantes de lugar, que es una asociación que también nos van a contar ellos, reciente, ¿no?, de estudiantes de arquitectura de la Universidad de Alicante. Y gracias también, Joaquín, porque va a intervenir y nos va Joaquín Albado, profesor de la Universidad de Alicante, y nos va también un poco a contar su intervención en Benidorm y muchas más cosas. Otra vez, gracias por estar aquí y vamos, somos todos oídos. Muchas gracias.
Okay, yeah, you can hear me. Yeah, thank you so much for having us here. Muchísimas gracias. Creo que vamos a hacer la presentación en español. Perdón, en español, en inglés. A little bit. Counselor. Yeah. Thank you. So I was saying thank you so much for having us here. We're going to start by, Kike here is going to start. We're going to crack into it in English this time.
Okay, thank you again, guys, for being today with us. So after that long waiting, we want to do a brief introduction about EASA in general. So we will be covering this, the screen is there as well. So we will be covering like the main points of EASA, what is EASA, what is the history, and then after that, the theme of this year and the city of Benidorm, that is why we're here today. So that will be the main points, both English and Spanish. So EASA started in the 1981 when the Liverpool strike of students had this point against the university. So they started to thinking out of the box. They started to gather, they started to have like this aim of something out of this institutional way. So they started by picking up some friends, organizing a first event in Liverpool. And after that, the idea was so powerful that they kept on that. So year after year, it went grow till the days. So they were starting from something like sketchy with their own friends. And year after year, the assembly got bigger and got established by deciding that happening once every time in a different year, in a different city. So now we are in 2024, which is Spain again. It was actually done in 2011 in Cádiz. Yeah, so nowadays it's the biggest student of architecture network active. So in numbers, more or less, because it's not something that you can measure properly because it flows a bit, but it's around 2,000 people involved, people that have been part of EASA for several years. In every year, it covers around 400 students that goes to the assembly for these 2 weeks. And in total, there are like around 50 countries participating, these 43 years of history. And it happens 30 workshops. I will talk about them in a bit, and it's for 2 weeks during the summer. So the main values of EASA, what can have you out of the university is not only this practical education that you have lack of this in your studies. It's also a way of interact with the local context. It's also about how to engage with the local people, how to engage with people from other countries, how to share the experiences with the way they got educated in architecture. So it's a way to expand your own knowledge from your local situation to abroad. So we are all architects, but we don't speak about architecture a lot. Yes, we do, but we cook, we rest, we do everything together for these 2 weeks, which is something really amazing and really special that has that keeps us motivating year after year and passing this torch to the next generation year after year. That's why it's been like 43 years already. So yeah, these are some pictures of sneaky moments during different years. As you can see, there are like a lot of things happening at the same time. Super motivated people working together. So there are like a lot of different implementations of these things that are happening during these 2 weeks. For example, like interventions within the city, industrial, landscape. There are like a lot of different ways of materialize these actions and these ideas of work together. Some other examples, as you can see, there is like every year the country gets way different. So the things that come up are totally unexpected and totally surprising. So we are like a network. We are non-profit assembly, and it tries to be horizontal. And as an assembly, the main goal is like to keep these people together in the network within the years. Yeah, so we are talking about EASA in general, which actually EASA is the name of these 2 weeks happening, European Architecture Students Assembly. But surrounding this main topic of EASA, there are like a sort of tiny events happening. One is, for example, the INCM, which is an intermediate national contact meetings where representatives of different countries decide where will be the EASA in the next 2 years. So it has an inner structure that makes this possible to be operating during the incoming years. There are also some different roles, for example, the tutors. That's why we are here these days. Also the participants, which are the main heart of the EASA, as well as helper, national contacts. Okay, there are like many roles, so you will get used to that time by time. So for now, now this year we will be bringing all these people from all the countries, mostly Europe, but also South America, Asia, and America, to Benidorm, as well as also, again, that's why we are here. We are really looking forward to bring people from all over Spain back to Benidorm and to engage the young students from the different universities, because traditionally it's hard to reach people from different cities of Spain. So that is also the aim. So there are like a procedure that we are following. First is like for the tutors. There were like in December, first sketch ideas on the topic of Shanghai on the city of Benidorm. By the end of December, there was a call, and now we were giving feedback. So by today, the 28th of February, we are starting this intermediate tutor meeting, where the point is like to make people understand what are the problematics of Benidorm, which are the opportunities, how is the city, how is the people surrounding around there. So there will be, by the end of March, an open call where we will be accepting ideas for workshops to be happening in these 2 weeks in Benidorm, until EASA that will start in the 28th of July. Also in parallel, there is this open call for participants, which is really important. This is why we are doing this process to bring all the representatives from different countries to make them bring the participants to the assembly. That's why the main thing will happen. So yeah, that's like a brief sketch on EASA. After that, we can comment some points, or you can have more deep questions on how it works. But this is mostly the main idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Quique. Thank you, Enrique. I'm going to talk briefly now about the theme of this summer's EASA. So as Quique was saying before, every year since 1981, there's been an EASA, and every EASA has had a different topic. Every year, like new ideas, always very original. However, this year we thought, hey, what if we just copy what has been done before, which at first sounds a bit like, what do you mean copy? Like, that is not very creative. Actually, copying is part of arts, it's part of architecture, it's part of how humans communicate, how we learn. So that's why we chose the topic of sansai. So sansai, it's a Chinese neologism that literally means mountain fortress. But that its contemporary use now refers to the counterfeit products, so the fakes, and the whole subculture surrounding them. These are some everyday examples of sansai. You have the well-known Alto stool copied by IKEA. You have the duck building from Learning from Las Vegas, and you even have a copy of the Venturi house that some architects replicated from a photocopy of the house itself. So as you can see, it's a very recurring theme in art, and we thought, why not to embrace it and to recognize our references and have this as a starting point for learning from each other and learning from the whole, like the huge collective knowledge that we have. Here's the house that I was talking about. You can see how the topic of the house has been like carried all throughout history, and that how every house is a copy or a reinterpretation or a misinterpretation or a collage of everything that's come before it. So how would that translate into practice? We understand sansai as a process of social and cultural collaboration that deconstructs and challenges the notions of authenticity and originality. As you may be aware of, in universities, we're often taught not to copy. We have to always bring very original ideas, but that's a bit, at least we think it's a bit ironic, because we all have references, we all are exposed to a global culture, and so obviously we are influenced by it. And by taking copying as a democratized tool for learning, we can then really understand what's valuable about certain ideas, certain themes, but also certain typologies, and try to evolve from them. So how does this translate to EASA? In EASA Sansai, there will be no new workshops. So as Kiki was saying, workshops are a really crucial part of EASA. And what we found by researching EASA and its archive, as I will talk now about it, workshops aren't really that original, or as original we may think. For example, these are two different workshops in different EASAs from different years, but they are a circle, and they both tell different stories and they use different materials, but you can see a connection. So we wanted to explore what would happen if we copied other workshops from other EASAs and bring them to Benidorm and see where that takes us. So we're going to be using the archive of EASA. It's a 43-year-old organization with a huge database of information and material, and these are some examples of it. The archive has traveled Europe for many, many years, and we wanted to bring it to Benidorm and tell that story because we think it's incredibly valuable, and have the archive as a space for debate about architectural ideas. Some ideas were like brought up in the 90s, but are still very much relevant today. And then some ideas could also be brought back and challenged, and so that we can see where architecture is going now. And now Andrea is going to talk about a more site-specific version of Sansai, which is Benidorm.
Thank you so much, Laura. So now, in order to relate the topic to Benidorm, to why we choose the city, we need to go back in time and learn why Benidorm is how it is nowadays. So we owe everything actually to Pedro Zaragoza, the former mayor, He had an idea of how a fisherman town could become a great city. Yeah, like an urban space from rural to urban. So he had a plan, and first of all, in order to attract tourists from Europe, remember that during this time in the 60s, we still had a dictatorship. So this was a very like groundbreaking milestone in Spain, because it was Benidorm was the first place that bikini was accepted, because before, as we know, it was like highly conservative. So yeah, so it was like a form to attract foreign tourists. And in order to become this great city, the Pedro Zaragoza, he had a very good team of 3 architects and topographics, and they, Guillermo Campos and Francisco Muñoz, among others, started this plan of urbanization. And the first thing was to, in order to become bigger, the first thing you need is water. So they created this regional hydrographic regulation together with some other municipalities around Benidorm, because before it was brought by boat to the city. So this was very important. And also they created the General Urban Plan in 1956 that afterwards our colleague Álvaro is going to explain more deeply. Yeah, so he wanted to get Benidorm known worldwide. So he established an embassy in Lapland, in Laponia. We have like some of our colleagues also coming from there. So they call it Operación Benidorm, and there were like some kind of actions that could brought people from there. And one was this: they brought like Sami people, like very traditional people, and they brought them from Lapland all the way to Benidorm, saying, "We are going to Benidorm." So, and they travel all over Europe. Then also some other strategies was national strategies was to bring people from the Basque Country. They give the honeymoon trips to Benidorm for free. So it was like huge. Everyone wanted to come, and it became a very known destination for happy couples. and even nowadays the Basque investors are still there, and we have like some examples of these buildings, which are Torre Negurigane, which is a Basque name actually, but it's very also related to the topic. It's kind of similar to Torres Blancas in Madrid. And yeah, so this was like a way of bringing, of making Benidorm known worldwide, but also to bring those culture back into the city and how was this implemented. And yeah, so we have like a lot of influence from England and United States and everything that is nowadays. So this is one of the reasons that we choose Benidorm, and also the way we want to apply this kind of methodology is also by copying what happened before in Las Vegas by Robert Venturi. They took some 9 students from an architectural school, and they decided to wander around Las Vegas in order, and they get this kind of DAX, which was a word to express highly sculptural forms that represent the products or services that are available within. And yeah, so we thought that this is like a great example of what to find in Benidorm as well, and to follow this same methodology applied to Benidorm. Yeah, so thank you very much. Now we are going to follow with some of these deeper explanations about what characteristics make this city so relevant nowadays. Sí. Okay, so first of all, we're going to have Dr. Architect Joaquín Albado, which is responsible for one of the most recent urbanism reconstructions in Benidorm. And after these days, we're going to also have the opportunity to visit. So, yeah, thank you very much, Joaquín, if you want to continue.
Well, first of all, I have to say that I'm in shock, no? Because the first time I heard about your association was 2 days ago. I'm teaching more than 20 years, and I never heard about your association. And there's a lot of students. I'm teaching in the University of Alicante. There's a lot of students that want to change the world in Alicante. And I call them to come here to be with you, because as I tell my students, the most exciting part of the architecture happen in the students' world sharing information, no? And it's something for me relevant, and that's why I'm shocked. I'm the oldest here, and for me being part, no, only with that explanation, being part of this scenario for me is crazy. No? I've been working in Benidorm for the last 8 years. That's why when I heard learning from Benidorm, for me is what I did in the last 10 years, no? Learning from Benidorm, because Benidorm is unique. It's unique, you know. It's something. It's a very innovative city. Then you can do things there, because as they show us, no, they start with the bikini, no, is something very innovative. It's the bikini urbanism, no. It never happens in another kind of cities, no. In there, you go with the bikini, and then the urbanism change, no, and that's why I start, no, with that project. Is in the project of the Benidorm. In Benidorm, there is a main street, and was packed of cars, no? More than 6 paths for cars. And what we did, we changed that into a pedestrian. Why? No, I'm going to explain very quickly why. Because I came from that drawings. Because when I was a student, I was listening to things that I didn't believe. No? They were explaining about things, and I was listening as a student, I'm telling you, and I didn't believe about what they were telling me. Why you don't speak about environment, citizenship? Why you don't speak about gender? Why you don't speak about biotopes, about change, about adaptation? Why you don't do that? No, that's my point. That was my point. I was in fight with the teachers and with the school. And when I finished, I realized that there is one question about that the cities they were showing me, the teachers, the cities that they were teaching me, was thought as an static structure. That's why I thought if I thought the city as a dynamic structure, then everything that I was thinking could be part of the design, no? Environment, dynamic, climate, everything, no, could be part. And I start drawing that drawings and start writing about them, no? Are those drawings, and it becomes my thesis, no? My thesis, because my thesis is about dynamic cities, no? The discussion about what kind of city we can get, thinking that it is not forever, that is a total transformation. Then before the project you saw, the Mediterranean Avenue, I did some projects like this one in Quito. That was the transformation of the airport. No? The airport is going to disappear. And what I did is I bring the landscape of the 7 volcanoes near Quito, and I bring them into the city, you know, with the connection with the landscape and the relation between the city and the landscape. or here is the one in Las Cigarreras, is bringing to Alicante what I thought Alicante needed is a big park. Or this one in Helsinki, no, I not doing the Guggenheim for Helsinki. There were a fantastic design, was the non-Guggenheim for Helsinki. No, was done by Michael Sorkin. I don't know if you have heard about this architect, and he proposed doing something with the money totally different than doing a building in Helsinki. And I presented that thinking that what we can design in Helsinki is the sky of Helsinki. And I start drawing in that way because it's something dynamic. The culture is something dynamic that change very quickly and transform the city very quickly. No? And I start drawing with meteorological drawings, trying to show this transformation. I did some projects trying to talk about these dynamic structures, and I have the opportunity to be the director of the strategy for Benidorm. And Europe was paying for the things I realized some years before that was the important things, no? For example, the climate change. No? Europe was paying, and there was a competition for every city in Spain, and you presented the project, and if you win, Europe is going to pay to transform into a green city, intelligent city, interconnected city, talk about poverty, talk about sustainability, CO2, everything that for me was really interesting, and I had the opportunities. It was my first time. I spent 2 years talking with the people, no? And I was trying to find a way to talk with the people. I studied some books that talk about this, but I couldn't find a way to connect, and I have to invent that, you know, the citizen participation nowadays. And the project was Benidorm is designed to the sea, and my project was giving turn Benidorm to the north, no? To the south and to the north. And that's the, I think, the best idea for Benidorm for the next years. And I was working with that, and we get the money. No? This is a study of, you have to go to here, to La Esplanada is here in 50 meters from here. And there were colorful, not today, colorful chairs, and you take them and you put it in the open space, in the public space, and you use as you want the space. No, for me, it's the best public project ever. No, and I spent 1 year taking pictures, videos, trying to draw what is going on, and for me, that's the most important. Now, you couldn't find the colorful chairs now. I don't know why they are not painted. And I start drawing this kind of situation that appears in a natural way. And after that, I have the opportunity to design that. No? Benidorm was not looking to the sea, was looking to the interior. And there were a main street full of cars, 6 paths for cars. And nowadays, it was really fantastic, no? Because we start with 4, with 3, with 2, with 1, no? And the question is where you can find this kind of transformation. Nowhere. Okay, let's go for it. No, it's an innovative city, and you can go farther. No, that's why I was telling you in Benidorm you can go farther because they are looking for innovation. I think it's the first time. I've been working in several cities, but it's the first time I found that very easy. No, innovation is something for me clear, but not very clear. And that are some of the pictures that I take during the construction. I don't want to stop but the idea is to transform the city into a pedestrian place, doing things. No, now is the Euro context, is the Benidorm Fest, is Eurovision, and they did here more than 6,000 people are there, and before there were full of cars. No, and this is details if you see, and I transform the city with digitalization. No, there are like 2 digital main spots. One is the bus station, but in the competition I used that bus station for a concert, no, to transform the city into a concert hall. You take the chairs from the beach is 50 kilometers, like La Esplanada, 50 meters from here, you go walking, and at 7 with your beach chairs or your hammocks, or you go to the city, you sit here, no, with the bikini, and you listen a concert. No, that was what I presented for the competition, and this is the idea, no, to transform the cross roads into plazas, and I bring the trees from the orchards in the city. No, there are orange trees and olive trees, and I think that's all. This is the pavement. It's a Mediterranean pavement, and nowadays is in that way. No, that's why you are going on August, no, and it's packed, no, packed. No? Hundreds and thousands of people are now leaving the street because the street belongs to them. No, this is the conversation we have in the citizen conversation. Then I did that to compare what I did, no? Talking about dynamic cities is down, is the project of the dynamic cities, and I transformed into a thesis, and the drawings I did for the project of Mediterranean is in the upper line. This is the final is, that one is the idea of the transformation of the city into a dynamic. And for me, the question I always, when I give a lecture, I ask before, but the question is, what do you talk about when you talk about architecture? For me, that's the main question. And probably that question must be answered by the students or not by the teacher. No? And I'm now in that mood, no? That the question must be answered by the students, and you are in this, no, to trying to answer that question. That's why thank you for allowing me to be in that. Okay, thank you.
Now the architecture, the student association of the School of Alicante, they also want to present themselves because we are really willing to participate together with them. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
So thank you guys. I think what we all seen here has been really inspiring for us. We were originally going to do this presentation in Spain, so I think it's better we switch languages in order to everyone to understand. We are representatives of our student association in Alicante. And I'm Joan Peña. And
I'm Begoña Ruiz.
Yes, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how the process of building an identity as a student association in Alicante has been. Our collective is called ALUARC-ALC, which means Alumnos Arquitectura Alicante, mainly students which study architecture in Alicante, of course. So let me, do we have the thing? Yeah. Thank you. A little bit revealing, but still, let me bring some context. This is our architecture building in our San Vicente del Raspall campus. It's not in the Alicante city as itself. It's in another city which is a little bit far from the center of Alicante. So that's a situation which is not necessarily really positive for a student life. So this was designed by an architect called Lola Alonso, and she mainly designed it for the students of architecture. The reality is that our degree is not in an architecture school, is in a polytechnical school. So that situation is difficult sometimes because another degrees, mainly another engineering degrees, are growing faster than our degree. So they sometimes require more space than architects need. And this situation has created a sort of loss of identity spaces, which for us, I think all of you know that the necessity of bringing or having collective spaces to work as architecture students is really defining for a student life. And this situation, and also not having a really good or strong student representation structure, has been something that we found in the beginning of the year. And Begoña and me personally, we went exchange to exchange programs, Erasmus, and we saw the reality of other universities. So all of this situation led to us thinking that something else could happen, or if we organized or we brought these ideas of collectiveness to the table, then some other things could happen. Yeah. So that's what happened. We talked to our professors, the structure of our degree, and we knew that a lot of people had these intentions or these ideas in their brains that something was not clicking, something was not happening, and as students we should do something together. So we created this manifesto. I know it's a little bit naive and not so architectural. It's mainly people writing down things, but the idea and our concept that we started with was a ring that expanded, and as it expands, it brings it holds a lot of people. So that's why we made people write a word, an idea, and a song for a playlist in Spotify. So that way, it's a way we compromise people and created this sort of shared conscious of collectiveness as a students. And this did not stop there. We gathered 4 times with other workshops and other ideas, but the main point was just getting to know each other. I know for some people, they just didn't know or could recognize student architectures in their own building. So this way we just had an idea of who we were or how to recognize, and it was really positive. We made this workshop of designing furniture with palettes, and we designed everything in this aspect, and we had to make them really reusable and a way to stack all of this together and not bother so much. Also, we made a workshop in which we inspired or just share our experiences doing an exchange program. And I don't know if this is correct data, but the University of Alicante has more incoming students than outcoming. Yes. And this year, it has not been that case. So I think we brought a little bit of cheer to that. And
Yeah, it's a lot. 70% of the people who come to the Polytechnic school are architecture students, so it's like a lot in comparison to what our spaces are here in the Polytechnic. So it's kind of like
yeah, so
controversial.
given that we were doing something really special, we knew that we had to organize and bring some compromises or some responsibility to our structure. And we knew that we had to do something that mainly was focused for students and for students only. And we had to improve the quality of our for student lifestyle or the experience that we have as students. And we knew that all the activities must be focused for students. And reality in I think all of schools is that people don't get a direct connection with the information from the school or the activities that happen in the city. So we knew that we had to, whatever we do, really care about how we transfer that information and from our events, and not only our events, but events happening in the city. So we also bring these events to our collectiveness. And we also proposed a structure which was not so hierarchic. We wanted something more horizontal and something that really brings or really takes advantage of the qualities or the abilities of each person. So we see it more as a way of collectively cooperate, and that way this is mainly our responsibility, or people who are really compromised, but still a lot of people come and really support us in each activity. As Rodrigo, he's always with us. And the thing is, we know that as a collective, some people have to compromise, but with a responsibility, but not so much rule over other. And we also knew that what we are proposing must have a really graphical impact, not so much just the activities itself, but the way we present it or the way we communicate it is really important, so people feel more connected and are able to identify and recognize the message. So that was mainly the things we established as a group. And maybe you want to continue?
Yeah, I mean, you're doing great. Yeah, we are just trying to involve more the students into like activities and just give them a voice, because sometimes we feel like we're treated as like the last like how do you say step in the pyramid? I don't know how to say it in English, and we just give them a voice and like make them feel important in the school, because they really are. They are like the most important thing. That's how we build like universities. And so we try to bring like people together in spaces like this, like the school, and just for them to know that it's not only about the classroom, it's also about the city, the architects, the architecture studios, even the city hall. Like we've been talking with the concejala, no sé cómo se dice.
Yeah, the City Council of Urbanism.
Yeah. So yeah, just for them to feel like it's not only about like the projects that your teacher like makes you do, it's also about participating in the university and like
So in this picture, you can see that we also wanted to work with other spaces rather than just the university itself, just bring more doors to students to start their professional life, not only focus on the university life, but also things that are not mainly happening at the university, and also some activities just as leisure or ways to socialize rather than just thinking about study. So
yeah, and so through the Polytechnic School, they promoted in February this cultural month, and architecture students had never participated before, and which is really sad to hear. And so quickly in like the last weeks before the events, we prepared like some activities for the students. We mainly wanted to focus on alumni, since it's a way to open the eyes of like the students. That's how you say it. Just for them to see that there's not only one way for architecture. It's not only about building a house. Maybe you can work in urbanism in the city hall, or you can do ceramics, or maybe you can work in collective with other architects. We also brought Brian. He's a specialist in grasshopper, and yeah, we brought all these like different activities for people to get to know other aspects of architecture, and I think it was really interesting, and people were really grateful. It's sometimes hard to bring people because we don't have that, like, we haven't been taught this image of like university as a collective. It's more individualist, and we're trying to bring this back. And even if 10 people came to the first workshop, we all always like post everything, so people would come to the next one. Every time there's more people coming, and yeah, it was really nice, and it finished. So we hope to like
make this more event happen more. So yeah, maybe you can see here what this workshop was for. We had this workshop of making crochet
piece,
crochet pieces, and then with porcelana.
Porcelains, like solidifying these pieces. And it was really special because it was something more manual, and we were teaching each other how to crochet, then how to do the mixtures with the ceramics, and it was really manual, and it also helped people like relax and like think outside of the projects that we have.
Then we had this workshop of parametric design, and it was online. One thing we knew from the beginning was that all the things we wanted to do were mainly face-to-face, but the reality is that most people need to go home early or get up in a bus or stuff like that that they are not able to assist to every workshop we make. And this was really positive workshop. We had 40 people coming to the classes, and people learned the basics from grasshopper and rhino. So we learned a lot. And then we had two talks with two different alumni from different work fields, and it was really positive talking face to face with them and having a really non-filtered conversation. So yeah, and
future plans.
And the future plans in our horizon. What's in our horizon is mainly planning like realistically. We want to see what's possible, and we're seeing the possibilities of traveling or making a little trip together, or planning like really activities which are not so heavy, or people that don't have so much time they can come to. And also we want our structure to be more we welcome every student, but a way in which people from other courses, other years,
even Erasmus people, like we just want everybody to get to know each other, because I think it's really helpful. In our first year, we didn't know anybody, and up until 5th year, I think the only conversations we had with other people was like, where's the bathroom? Or so it's like really nice that now we're talking with people from 1st year or 2nd year, and we're like, maybe we can do some tutoring and like help you with this like subject. Or I think it's really helpful, and people come to you now more. And
yeah, that's definitely something we felt from the beginning. Like from the first activity, we had really good support from other years, and now is the moment in order to transmit what we built to them. And then we want to establish some links with other collectives, such as this opportunity, and
also CREARC. We're speaking with CREARC. It's an association of like architecture students, but in a national level. I think you guys know it.
Yes.
And
so I think what's going on right now is really defining for us, and we are literally babies. I don't think I've mentioned it, but the first picture, it was taken in November. So all the things we have achieved is only been like in 4 months. And we are really surprised every time we accomplish something, because we, from the beginning, didn't know the actual reach that this could take. And so we want to thank everyone that's really supported us from the beginning. And I think this is a good opportunity for us to develop something really good. So
For the
thank
university
you.
and the school.
Yes, so thank you, everyone. Gracias. Should we sit with you or? Yes. Okay.
So now the idea is to discuss about Benidorm, not to explain everything about the urban plan and all this stuff, because maybe it's more interesting to discuss and have your own opinions about Benidorm, your first opinion, maybe discuss with the people here that knows the city. And we have like the topic of Sunside, and we are trying to connect this with is it possible that Benidorm will place in other places, like the model of Benidorm can be placed in, for example, Las Vegas. So the idea is to put the topic in the table and talk about that. Maybe we can go one by one, if you agree, and then talk about that. Or so the question is, if Benidorm managed to incorporate elements from other places, can the Benidorm model be implemented and work anywhere? Obviously no, because but we can discuss about where yes, where not, and for example, we can see this. One of the most important thing, I'm from Benidorm. I'm an architect, and I study the city a lot. So I'm a big fan of Benidorm. Benidorm is a city that is so controversial. Also in Spain, have bad image, and also for architects is like there are two opinions, no? So we are gonna, in this panel discussion, put the topics on the table. And for example, one is the scale of Benidorm, that maybe allows you to do this kind of project, no? The size of the avenues, the relationship with the commerce, and also the buildings. Benidorm is like, if you compare, for example, the size of this huge part of Benidorm with an hotel in Las Vegas, the Caesar Palace, you can see that this resort in Las Vegas doesn't allow you to go to the city. They want you to be in the resort. And Benidorm is like an urban resort that works together. So the question is, could Benidorm, the Benidorm model work in a city like Las Vegas? Will be profitable or not? You want to start?
No, as I said, no, for me, you are going to work in a unique city. No, Benidorm is incredible because it's a unique experience. If you see, I recommend that you make with Google a view of the coast of Spain, and what happened along the last 50 years in the coast of Spain, and then passing through that, then you find some unique places, Benidorm, and as I said, doing that with the bikini, is the urbanism of the bikini, then you are going to find really freaky things there, and it's about the transformation of the city. There's a lot of projects that has been done in the university. This idea of the freaky urbanism, that transform the city in another way, that thinking in a kind of geometrical process, and that process is amazing, because there's a lot of random and a lot of innovative ideas in the transformation. There were some workshops there. One was about MRBTV. I don't know if you have heard. no, is the coast. Yeah, Iberica coast. No, you can get. There is a book about what happened, and we did one, a fantastic one. I don't know if you have heard about Elias Engelis. Have you heard about Elias Engelis? Was the partner of Renkuljas, no? But something happened, no, and and we invite Elias Engelis, and what we did, no, we have some images are crazy. He proposed us to design only one building. No, and we did with only one building, no, in Benidorm. No, it's like, no, the compact city, everything in only one building in Benidorm, and we start with images from the 50s, no, and this transformation is crazy, no? And talking about the proposal, there are also some final projects in Alicante about how you compare a city, no? Putting the city over the other, no? And are you walking in? There's a fantastic project, no? But you cannot see now in the Museum of Alicante, done by a girl, by a student, as is comparing Alicante with Berlin, no? Like the same plot over, no, one over the other, and you pass from one point to the other, no? You are walking, no? And now you can do it in a digital, with digital stuffs, no? This idea of, no, you are walking in Alicante, but are you listening and feeling the Venetia, no? The Venice spaces? And I think it's really interesting, that drawing, no? To put something together and to compare them. And I stop.
If anyone wants to talk, we can have a microphone maybe and just ask questions or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
It's important to
be
talk.
a conversation.
Yes.
So I wanted to have the discussion with you too. And I would like to say something in person.
This is actually a super exciting opportunity to be working in Benidorm, because when we first proposed this, like 2 years ago, the EASA community gave us like a really weird look of like, really, like you wouldn't do it in Benidorm, like what's there? And that just made us feel like, oh my God, like we really have to do this, because there's this really like gem of a city, as Joaquin was saying, like the bikini urbanism, you can do anything. There's so much space for innovation. That is not being really like communicated to the world beyond the tourism that we see in the media. And I think that parallelism can be drawn between learning from Las Vegas and learning from Benidorm, although learning from Las Vegas is an old piece of work with like more than 50 years old. I think some of the things that I brought up there are still relevant, like how to look at cities from a fresh perspective. I think a very interesting thing of Benidorm is how you move around the city. Like while in Las Vegas, you mainly move by car, as you were saying, Alvaro. Like the resorts draw you in. You cannot escape the resort. Benidorm is sort of the other way, because you are always on the streets. And it's very, as you will find out, it's very walkable, it's very cyclable, and you also will find loads of scooters. It's actually a very accessible city. So maybe Las Vegas could like learn from Benidorm.
Does anyone of you want to intervene? Or maybe? Benny, of course. Benny.
Yeah, I will just say that, well, apart from Las Vegas is in a desert, but Benidorm is in a really nice place to be, like outside. That's why this difference in the urbanism, and it's not a place to be inside, but to be more outside and enjoy the place. And well, maybe you can correct me, because I'm not sure if this information is true, but I think when Disney World was planning to make a Disneyland in Europe, Benidorm was the chosen place at the beginning, and then it ended up going to Paris. But I think this happened, but there was a problem with ETA and all this stuff. Is it true or not? Near. But I mean, it's a really nice place to place some venue like that. So it has some relations also to Las Vegas. I mean, it's and you'll see also when you'll go.
But for example, you compare in Benidorm, we have like a lot of them parks on like Aqualandia, Terra Mítica, and if you go like other places like for example Salou, that is a city in Spain that is a touristic place in the coast, and you have like a big them park there that is called Portaventura, and the people go only to Portaventura. Like Portaventura is the destiny, not the city. So maybe Benidorm doesn't want Disneyland to everyone focus on Disneyland. Maybe the main character here is Benidorm, and yes, we have a lot of them parks and different things to do, but the resort, the important resort is the city. Maybe it's the difference between, for example, Paris. Sometimes you go to Disneyland Paris and you don't visit even Paris. You go only Disneyland because yes, but maybe in Benidorm they wanted to have like the city in the middle, and then you have like, because also Warner and other big companies wanted to have a them park there, but finally they do by themselves. Controversial thing. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I wanted to add that I think the reason behind is like projects like Joaquin mentioned before, the Tecnoito and all those things that in Benidorm, the council is thinking about how to bring everyone together into the same place, and that those big events don't just happen in the outside. So they have like this relation also with everyone, with all the tourism and all the people who are residents there. And I think this can be proof in this project, like we saw before, that even the festival of Eurovision, they wanted to be held in the city center, in a pedestrian street that was like prepared to allocate 6,000 people. And I think having that vision is something that makes Benidorm this special, and that makes the difference with other cities, as you said before, because those theme parks are in the outskirts or even like Paris. So I think the vision is behind. Maybe we can follow to the next. Does anyone want to add something? Yeah, Tony, thank you very much.
Hello. I would like to ask to continue with the thing of Las Vegas and Benidorm, the comparison. I think it's important to say the learning from Las Vegas. That Robert Venturi and Denise Brown, I think they are looking to the common people in a way, and they are not looking as an architect as this niche, as we can look, for example, of this, the Swiss architecture or something that is a bit more niche, and this way of looking to the reality, and
Okay, I'll ask this way. Yes, I quite like the project that I can't remember your name, but you showed before, like removing like the car streets and implementing more pedestrian streets, and maybe like what I see a difference between maybe Las Vegas or Benidorm as well is kind of the scale of the city and how it's used by its inhabitants. And I wanted to maybe ask you how this implementation or reducing of car traffic and bringing maybe more people in the center of the street, how the inhabitants reacted to this urbanistic gesture?
For me, was not easy, no? Because the transformation now, the transformation of the city is in a slow path. No, first of all, we take some of the paths, and what we propose is something very strong. No, we change. No? It's like not allowing smoking. No, but it's going to happen. It's something that is going to happen. No, we are. If we ask that question, no, it's going to happen in every city. Going to happen is Europe now is paying for that. Europe is telling us, I pay you, no, to reduce the traffic, and if you reduce a lot, I pay more for that. No, but something, as I say, in Benidorm that is unique is that the 80% of the movement of the people is walking. No, because as the city, no, you can walk from the upper part of the city to the beach in 15 minutes walk. No, it's really, really easy. Then you go to Benidorm with the car, you let the car park, and if you are going to stay 15 days as you can walk everywhere. No, it's very easy. No, it's an easy city. And that's, I think, that the big change for another kind of cities like Las Vegas. No? In Las Vegas, you need a car, no, because it's a very extended city, no, very flat, very. But Benidorm is like everyone was moving, no. And something that you will discover is that if you see from the sea, it's a wall, but all of them are moved. No, because it's free, the movement of the buildings, and all of them are looking to the sea. No? Then you see a wall, but it's like they are. No, you plant something and then you try to see the sea from everywhere. No? That makes Benidorm unique, but it's a pedestrian city. No? It's a pedestrian city.
It also has to do with the urbanism plan that I mentioned before, because they program that the growth of Benidorm should be like along the coast. So we have like 2 beaches and how it's organized, and they make sure like all the infrastructure was found within like 5 minutes walking. So yeah, instead of growing towards the mountains and towards the interior, they decided to cover this line. And so this makes it very accessible, as we said before, to everyone. Yeah, we can also see like we are gonna.
No sé si tenemos más tiempo, creo que no. Diego, no sé si está por ahí. No tenemos más tiempo, ¿no? Sí. Vale. So maybe we can discuss another topic, another usual. What do you prefer? Maybe. Okay. Okay, this one is obviously when you see a city with a lot of skyscrapers, you instantly compare the city with New York. If you compare the density of New York and the location of New York, that is in an island and they don't have a space, and they use like a lot of they construct in a plot a lot of density, not like in Benidorm that maybe you see like the skyscraper, but the regulations are so strictly. You cannot do the same square meters in Benidorm than in New York. Obviously, it's not the same. Obviously, you have the high of the buildings for free that you can do 40 floors, 50 floors. Doesn't happen, but the square meters in Benidorm are so restrictly, more than cities like Madrid or here Alicante or obviously Barcelona. So in the same place, you construct less square meters. And this is a discussion that with that you can have one pool for all the building, you can have one garden, you can have one container for the rubbish, and this allows you to have more eco-friendly things, that you only have one garden to put water on it, you only have one pool to use, not instead, for example, cities like America that you have like thousands of pools in a private place. So we were talking about sustainability and these things that Benidorm have make Benidorm a lot of sustainability. So I don't know if you want to. Also, another thing is the hybrid of the city, that you have residential, apartments, hotels, commerce. We were talking about Salou. Also Andia are places similar, like in your mind, are cities made for the tourist, but in September, 30th of September, they close. So Benidorm works all the year. Now we are 80% full in February, and we are a beach place. So this is thanks to the urban plan, because these urban plans allow the city to have residential, apartments, hotel, commerce, all in the same. So when the tourists go, you also have the people living there, so the commerce doesn't close, because you have like always a base of people that have to go to the supermarket. They works on hotels, people from UK, because different things, and this make this hybrid urban plan. This make why Benidorm is open every year, all the year.
Yeah, I wanted to add something to that, because it's really, the case of Benidorm is really interesting. There's this like quote that says that if every city in the Mediterranean was like Benidorm, there would be 10 cities and the whole coast would be virgin. And this is a really interesting fact, because back in 2011, when some colleagues did the EASA in Cádiz, they were talking about the same problem, like the urbanization of the coast, the use of the land, how we distribute resources and infrastructure. And we wanted to look at it from a positive example of it, like not extensive, and as a city that is self-sustainable all throughout the year. And even though EASA is celebrated in the summer, which is like peak tourist season, as you will find out when we're walking through Benidorm, it's really livable and it's really lived. And yeah, well, you will find out yourselves. It's like an open classroom as well.
Also, a very important fact that we didn't mention about Benidorm is that in this drawing, as we can see, it's not just about talking about density. Also, as you can see in the picture, like buildings are not like one's face to another; they are not like linear constructed. So this makes it possible that not just usually like the buildings with a view have like are more exclusive to some other people, but in this case, if you turn the building, if you like don't follow this path and no building is like aligned with another one, you get like sightseeing from every building. So this way, even like the third line could have and actually have sightseeing, and this was like a way of democratizing the views for everyone. So everyone is accessible to it as well. So that is also a very important thing we wanted to mention. Yeah, does anyone want to add something or? interest, I think, yeah. Yes, of course, Patricia. Do you have another micro there?
Hi, hello. Do you hear me? Just wanted to ask about the previous picture and the urban plan. Was it a success? Like before, as I understood, was there an issue? I couldn't understand. Was there already like this planning of residential buildings being enough? Or was it repaired during years? Was there a change in the urban planning? And if there was, how did it happen? Did I build these buildings for residents, or or change the use?
That's why.
Yes, the first plan was in 55, so a long time ago. I'm not sure if I understood the question. And they managed to put the buildings, they call it tranvía, instead that like that. So they figure out that why we don't move the buildings and we put like that. So we have this free space for gardens, for the pool, and we don't we don't create walls so the people can have sightseeing for sea. And also the most important thing is that you don't have your neighbor never in front of you, and you have always sightseeing of the sea. You have the sun always in your window. You have the ventilation, all these kind of things that are fundamental. But this change was in 60, I don't remember, 65. So the plan didn't change until 90, but with not too much. It's like with different things, like you cannot build like more than 50 meters of facade because they don't wanted to create these kind of walls. But from the 65 from now is almost the same urban plan, and this was the first urban plan created in Spain for the one wall city. From there, they did like urban plannings for only an space of the city or something like that. But this urban plan was made for all Benidorm, and they made this on the same. Meanwhile, at the same time, the government in Spain was doing the Ley del Suelo. Ley del Suelo is the law that organizes all the laws in relationship with the construction, the urban plans and everything. So this was the first urban plan done in Spain with a walled city. So this was the thing that is like amazing, because they were planning as a village of 1,000 people. This kind of plan is, if you think about it, is like, imagine now a village of 500 people living there, and they plan to do like a big city for 5,000 500,000 tourists. So in August in Benidorm, we have like 500,000 people, and now we are 200,000 people, and the city works every day. So the city doesn't stop. That is the amazing thing. And this was planned 50 years ago, not now.
Okay, so yeah, you got the question, and so I got your answer. Thank you.
Can you press the microphone, please?
Yes, thanks. Okay, my question is to the local people who live there. I'm curious about the rural areas, or low-rise or suburban. Is it in a bad state? Is it in a good state? Is it, like, I suppose not every resident of Benidorm lives in a high-rise, no? So
Almost.
for me, in the city experience is the most important, and I believe that would be really interesting part of the survey for me personally to find out about. Right, because it's a fisherman village, right? Is it still fisherman?
No.
Or no longer? No? So only high rise, no low rise? Okay.
I live in a building like that, so most of the people live in building like that. In Benidorm, when they planned the urban plan like that, they didn't allow so much residential like for families, like normal house, because the main idea was to do a city like that. So the cities around Benidorm did the contrario, the opposite, because there is no houses in Benidorm, so the other cities says we have to do houses because, and now you can see the surroundings of Benidorm, but it's not Benidorm, it's the rest of the cities around Benidorm that they have massive houses, like American planning or something like that.
So like suburbia.
And
right?
they are like a sleeping.
Yeah, urban sprawl.
Yes, but like.
But it's not Benidorm, right?
No.
Okay.
Benidorm have like some places that, but it's like a small areas that you have houses, but the main concept of Benidorm is what we are seeing now. I live in a building like that, and all the people I know, or almost all the people I know, or they live in a building like that, or they live outside Benidorm in a house, and this kind of American life.
Okay, and the industrial part of it, like port or some, something related to fish, is it still present, or it's no longer a part of the city at all?
No, when they started to do the plan, and the port is more or less the same size that was 50 years ago. Obviously, they did a port because they have like recreational boats that goes to the island or something like that, but there is not a big port because the main thing in Benidorm are the beaches. So you have a port in Benidorm, the beaches are not gonna be clean. So in Benidorm, the beaches are treated like when you go to ski, you go in the morning and you see like a machine in the cleaning everything. So Benidorm, the beach is like when you have a ski station, the beach are treated like that. So because we live because of that, almost, but so.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
Now we're going to follow the discussion with a cup of wine offered by the School of Architecture, that we are very grateful. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for coming and for attending this talk.